Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In the glittering world of fame and music power, legends rise from nothing and build empires that seem untouchable. But every empire casts a shadow, and inside that shadow, truths wait. Some truths whisper, some scream, and some remain buried until the world is finally ready to listen. This is the story of a rise that thrilled millions and a reckoning that stunned them. Long before the private jets and the red carpets, long before the awards and the diamond chains, there was a gym crowded, packed beyond safety, pulsing with excitement. A charity basketball game, a night meant to shine, turned into a night of terror. People pushed doors, jammed, the air thickened, screams rose and bodies fell. 9 lives lost, 9 families shattered, 9 tragedies woven into the earliest chapter of a man who would later become one of the most powerful names in music. For years, the world celebrated the climb, rarely looking back at the cost at the beginning. Decades later, in a dimly lit private room, a very different scene plays out. Hidden footage never meant for the public captures a man, pacing, eyes restless, voice strained. He no longer looks like the king of the shiny suits. He no longer moves with the confidence of the man who once declared that nothing could stop him. He whispers that everything is slipping away. He talks of battles, not in courts, but in the arena of public perception. Dark strategies, desperate plans, a final grasp to hold on to the world he built. This is the face of fear. This is the face of a man watching the walls of his empire crack behind boardroom doors and guarded gates. Another story emerges, a story of huge fortunes in motion, whispers of accounts shifting, rearranging, preparing for the storm that had not yet struck but was already shaking the ground. Money moves like a tide, silent, powerful, changing the landscape long before the rest of the world realizes it. Then come the voices of women once ignored, once dismissed, voices that carry years of pain. They step forward, some trembling, some steady, all determined. And they tell stories of nights that blurred into fear, stories of pressure, manipulation, isolation, stories they say were hidden by fame, protected by power, buried under the weight of $1 billion persona. Hold on, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to this channel, pause and subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Now let's get back. The screen goes quiet and their words echo louder than any beat that ever played on a radio. The documentary does not stop there. It turns toward the darkest corners of rap history, toward gunfire, toward rivalry, toward 2 legends whose deaths shook the world. Tupac Shakur, the notorious Big for years. Rumors churned like storms over deep water. Now former insiders appear on camera, their voices low, their eyes heavy, and they make claims that reopen old wounds and revive long-buried suspicions. Some say warnings were ignored, some say threats were made. Some say the rivalry was not only dangerous but deadly, and that power in the shadows played a role that history never dared to confirm. Whether true or not, the allegations shatter the calm surface of the past, sending shockwaves into the present. Then the camera shifts behind the scenes, behind the music videos, behind the glamorous image into private rooms, hotel suites, and whispered recollections. Former workers describe a world of excess, a world where pleasure and power blend, a world where fear becomes currency. They speak of gatherings of environments that felt coercive, of moments that lingered in their memories with unsettling clarity. The glamorous image dissolves, and in its place appears something darker, something more chaotic, something that viewers cannot easily forget. Inside a courthouse, years later, a different kind of truth unfolds. Jurors from the highly watched trial step into the light, their voices calm, reflective, and honest. They speak of evidence, confusion, media pressure, public frenzy, They described the weight of judging a man whose name echoed across decades of culture and the struggle to separate rumor from fact, celebrity from reality. Their reflections reveal what headlines never said, that the truth was complicated, that the case was not simple, and that justice is rarely a clean story. Behind all of this, another truth takes shape. A man desperate to control the narrative, to shape perception, to mold reality. Public relations, teams, media, strategists, carefully crafted messaging, secret strategies to shift opinion. This was not simply a battle in a courtroom. It was a battle for the mind of the public, a battle fought with influence connections and the need to preserve a legacy crumbling under its own weight. For decades, he was Sean Diddy Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, the architect of the bad boy empire, a billionaire mogul who redefined American pop culture, making his name synonymous with glamour, success, and excess.
Montage of Combs' career highlights music videos, red carpets, private jets. But in 2024, the glamour was shattered. The federal raids on his mansions were not a climax. They were the prelude. The true reckoning was still to come. Now, the explosive documentary Sean Combs, The Reckoning Executive, produced by 50 Cent, pulls back the velvet curtain on the life of the mogul. It is a 4-part testimony, a deep dive connecting decades of alleged ruthlessness. From the tragic 1991 City College stampede, where he allegedly fled the scene, to the civil lawsuits of today, the docuseries suggests a chilling pattern, a focus on self-preservation at all costs. This is not a story told by enemies, but by those in his inner circle, former associates and childhood friends like Roger Bonds and Tim Patterson, who claim to have seen the man behind the money. Their accounts describe an ambitious, almost obsessive figure, whose alleged ruthlessness was apparent long before the billion-dollar deals. The most devastating claims, however, come from the artists who fueled the empire. The documentary provides heartbreaking testimony, particularly from Aubrey O'Day of the girl group Danity Kane. She describes an environment of alleged manipulation and control, where the label's success was prioritized over the well-being of the talent. Kalena Harper's perspective echoes this sentiment, an atmosphere where professional aspiration was inextricably linked to personal compromise, creating a pervasive culture of fear. The docuseries lays bare the grim reality behind the glamour, detailing the testimonies surrounding the alleged freak-offs. These accounts from former associates and civil plaintiffs paint a shocking picture of systemic exploitation, centered on the use of sex and power as a tool of control, allegedly normalized within Combs' inner orbit. The ultimate catalyst, however, remains the $30 million lawsuit filed by his longtime partner, Cassie Ventura, and then the unedited surveillance footage from 2016. It was a visual confirmation of the volatility and alleged abuse that had been rumored for years. A moment where the public narrative of the king of bad boy could no longer withstand the truth. The settlement, while swift, only intensified the legal scrutiny that followed. Crucially, the docuseries includes interviews with jurors 75 and 160, offering unprecedented insight into the recent civil proceedings. Their testimony helps decode the confusing split verdict that followed the presentation of evidence to the jury, while acquitting on the more severe charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, delivered a conviction on prostitution charges. It suggests a deeply complicated, often toxic dynamic, described by one juror as a relationship that was loving but complicated. Lending a complex meta layer to the production is its executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. A longtime rival of Combs, Jackson claims his motive transcends feud. He felt obligated to expose the behavior that, in his view, the hip-hop community had too long chosen to ignore. The documentary is more than an expose on one man. It is a cultural mirror, reflecting how celebrity worship and the cult of success can shield and enable horrific behavior. It asks the lingering question, how long can an entire industry look the other way? The empire is stained, the image is shattered. The music mogul's reckoning is complete, but for Sean Combs, the consequences are just beginning. Longtime allies fall silent. famous friends distance themselves. Fans struggle with the music they once danced to, caught between admiration for the art and horror at the man it came from. The empire, once untouchable, once unstoppable, stands in ruins, surrounded by lawsuits, accusations, betrayals, and painful confessions. It is not a single fall, but 1,000 fractures finally giving way. Yet amid every voice and every revelation, a question remains. What is the truth? Where does it begin? Where does it end? Some say the documentary is biased. Some say it exaggerates. Some say it sanitizes. Some say it exposes. The viewer is left with a difficult task to listen to, weigh, to question, and to decide. The documentary does not give answers. It opens doors. The truth waits somewhere beyond them, shaped by memory, fear, anger, power, and silence. In the end, this is not only the story of Sean Combs. It is the story of fame and the shadows it casts, of power and the people who fear it, of silence and the cost of breaking it.